Good morning, everyone. It's been a pretty rough early morning. Um, so yeah, on Sundays, Planet Fitness, certain Planet Fitnesses open at midnight, and not Sunday to Monday, so technically Monday at 12 a.m. Um, certain Planet Fitnesses open up, and they're open 24 hours, 5 days a week. And I went to the Planet Fitness in Chelsea um, because today I have that housing appointment in Chelsea. So I've been trying to stay as close as I can to that, to that area, in case of any car troubles that have been happening a lot, and in case of anything. I was like, worst case, I could walk, which I don't think is going to happen, but I have to be prepared for it. That's why I stayed at Northgate most of the day yesterday, because I wanted to make sure I had enough gas and everything, that I wouldn't, drive somewhere further and then run out of gas. So I stayed pretty local, pretty close by. And I was parked at the Planet Fitness, and it was, probably like 20 minutes to midnight, and I started to get cold, because I was sitting in my car. First, I had my car shut off, to save gas, and I started to feel cold. So I was like, oh, let me just turn on the heat, to warm up a little bit, and the car didn't start. Shocker. And then, I don't know what really happened to me. Like, I guess I just got really tired and fell asleep without even noticing, because it was probably like I said, like maybe like 11:40 or something like that, and then I just like fell asleep. And then when I opened my eyes, it was like 1 a.m, and I'm like, okay, the gym's now open. I meant to go in at midnight. And then I felt that, like, I realized it was 1 o'clock in the morning, but the part was I was freezing. I wasn't able to turn on my car, so I wasn't able to get any heat. And I stayed in that car for like an hour without noticing. I just dozed off. And when I got out of my car, and I went into the gym, like I was, I had some effects from that. I was like confused and dizzy, just like out of it. My body felt cold. Like I just didn't feel well. Like I was just like kind of like, like I got to the gym, and I sat at the couch there, and I just was like, oh my God, and I just, and I was like, yeah, I almost froze to death. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not feeling well. I feel confused. I feel like, and then, I was like starting to try to, tell myself, how am I going to survive this? Because that's what I tell myself, every minute of the day when I'm street homeless. And I was like, maybe, if I do some tanning and I, warm up, that'll help me warm up. And I did some tanning, and, yeah, it did help me. I did get a little bit more warm and everything. But, at that point I was inside the gym, so I was already, getting warmer. So, I just hung around that area until the early morning. And then I made an attempt to get my car jump started. And I have my jumper cables. So there was a girl at the gym that was nice enough to offer to help me and everything. And, we connected the cables with my, the cables that I had, and it didn't work. And we even waited, like 10 minutes and everything. And, it didn't work, and I was like, oh, well, thank you for helping me try, and I felt bad because, I was hoping it would just work right away, and then she could, be able to leave and, not have to wait around, But she was nice enough to even wait around 10 minutes, but the car still didn't start. And I I was like, I don't know, like I've had luck with other people who have had better cables, the ones that you can do it yourself. And so I found a guy at the gym, and he helped me. He had one of the box, jumpers. You can do it yourself. And at first he tried like once and it didn't. I was like, oh my God. Then he tried a second time and then it worked. And I was like, thank God. And I thanked the guy, and I drove off. I left, and I was just like, thinking to myself, well, thank God I was at a gym and there's people nice enough to help me and everything. And there's like a lot of people. So, like it's like, maybe you could, take your, have a better chance when there's more people and everything. But I don't know. Like I bought the jumper cables, like, a couple of weeks ago. And the first few times I used them, they did work. And now they're not working. And, maybe the car needs a better jumper cables. I don't know. Or maybe all of a sudden these jumper cables don't work. Because I'm the person that had this, in less than a year, had to buy 4 electric toothbrushes. So who knows what could have happened to my jumper cables. I hope that they work, but it seems like there's been a few people that have tried to help me, and it hasn't worked with my cables, and it's worked with other people's cables. I try to say, well, maybe because theirs is better than mine, and it is. Mine's are cheap, but still, they worked a few times, and now they're not working. So that makes me a bit suspicious, considering what I've gone through when I've bought things that, don't work, like electric toothbrushes, or have to buy like 3 different winter coats and things like that. It's just, but this is a nightmare. I was freezing to death. I was freezing. I fell asleep and woke up confused because my body was so cold. And I see like the frost in my car when I got out of my car. I was like, it's fucking cold, I was like, and I was seeing the news. I'm like, in the morning, in the night, like that it'll be in the 40s. And I'm like, am I going to freeze to death? Because my car keeps shutting off. I don't have money for a new battery. And, I've been, it's cold. It's cold. I don't have a blanket. Like the last time I was homeless, I had access to my storage unit and I could cover myself up with a blanket, a big blanket and everything. And I don't have that, now this time around being homeless, my car is shutting off a lot. So if it's cold, like it was last night, and I try to turn on my car and I'm not able to turn it on, I could possibly freeze to death. I survived last night. I survived it. I was like, oh my God, but I knew that, it could have ended differently for me, but I knew that I was affected. I definitely, my body did not have enough heat in it, because that's how my body reacted to it. And, I've done the best I can to survive. I can't believe it's been more than a month that I've been dealing with this type of homelessness, especially with recording traffic videos for 2 months straight, especially for what I went through in the spring, and now going through this, in the summer. We're approaching fall. Today I have a housing appointment. I hope that I can just apply to places like, applications for housing, and I can put it as priority so I can find a place, because it's getting way too cold, way too dangerous to be out there. Like I said, like a few days ago, I applied to a job. I hope I can start working full time again. I've always worked. This nightmare needs to end, or I'm going to end up, dying out there. And I don't want to die. I'm too young to die. I have too much to live for, but this is incredibly dangerous. And I just wanted people to know what happened to me. Thank you for listening.